Hello and welcome back to the Cheltenham Festival head-to-head series with myself and Dan Overall. It's all come to an end. The festival is over. We're recording this literally a couple hours after the racing's finished. We're just going to go a rundown through the festival. We'll start with the performance of the week, who our performance from the week was, and I'll pass that one over to you, Dan.
Maybe it's recency bias. I just think that Gold Cup was really, really strong just by the way the front three pulled away. So I think Nelorindo has to go down as probably one of the better winners in recent years. Obviously, times will come out and they'll assess that. But the fact that he, Aplutard, and Alboon Photo were the front three with the rest kind of toiling, I think shows it was a strong race. Nelorindo and Aplutard both have Tom on this side. So with those two going forward, the Gold Cup will probably be their main targets going forward. Envoy Land as well, Monkfish. So could be a good race next year if they all make it. But I thought Nelorindo was very, very impressive. And I think he showed he has a bit more natural scope than Aplutard does, who is neat, but he can't pull out the big jumps like Nelorindo did. And in the end, I think that kind of made the difference.
I thought that was a really good training performance from Henry de Bromhead myself, because he fouled two starts back, and then he made a hell of a blunder. Was it 2 or 3 from home at Leopardstown? I think it was in the Irish Gold Cup. So I was obviously a bit tentative on his jumping, but he was foot perfect the whole way around. Maybe
I'd say most people who backed him probably backed him in about November time. I'd say generally, but no, cracking horse. He had it in the tank. I mean, if you look at that RSA last year now, the way Allaho and Nelorindo battled throughout, obviously Champ did absolutely nothing for that, but I think he that fell into his lap. But the way those two battled last year, two smart horses at what they do. So yeah, that was a good race last year.
Bit of a cop-out answer. My performance on the weekend was most definitely Rachel Blackmore. Just on a whole, she was absolutely class. She showed that she was far clear of a lot of the jockeys that were there. Some fantastic tactical moves throughout the week, and I don't watch a lot of Irish racing myself. I tend to watch British racing, so I don't know why I'm doing that after this weekend. They've absolutely obliterated us. But don't get to watch a lot of Rachel Blackmore, and she really, really did impress me. If I can ask you for a horse you'd like to take from the festival, who would that be?
Tough about seeing it all back. I think I will win the Scottish National, though. I think if they can get him in a much better position, everything went wrong for him in the Ultimate. We'll discuss that shortly. Still ran a cracker. Is he well handicapped? He hasn't got a stone in hand, but I still think there's a big race in him. And if Callum Booley can get back on board, he knows him better, get him in a rhythm, he'll win.
Horse to take from this, again, it's as a left field shout. I want to say Champ. He did nothing in this festival at all. He was pulled up after 2 fences or whatever it was. I could just see them dropping him back to 2.5 miles, being able to send him from the front, firing him at his fences. And I think that could really suit him. Failing that, I think Allaho might be teed up to win the Ryanair for the next 3 years, because he was absolutely devastating. We're going to go horse by horse through our book of bets. So we'll go from week 1. I had St. Calvados, and he was pulled out 24 hours before, so nothing to talk about there. You had a Clat de Rire on week 1. What was your thoughts on that?
Where do you even start with this? So the clear second favourite going into the race, rightly so. Rachel had a brilliant week, but I can still not understand what happened in this race. The only confirmed front runner, who's the best jumper in the field, even I'd say better than Monkfish, and Monkfish kind of proved that he isn't flawless jumping. And they sat him in behind Monkfish. He wasn't jumping well on the big breakaway. I'm still in utter disbelief they did that. It makes no sense to me. His only chance of winning was going from the front. He didn't do it. Was the ground a bit too lively? Probably, but that didn't explain the tactical decision. And at the end of the day, you take a horse whose 2 performances over fences have come from the front, where he's used to getting a clear sighter. You then drop him in behind 2, one of which isn't jumping well. How's it going to end? The writing was on the wall a long way. He was following a horse in Monkfish who was taking off a long way from his fences. That would have massively inconvenienced him. It also encourages him to do the same. He was absolutely nailed on for a place, and he fell. And to be honest, I think I backed more Rachel Blackmore's fallers than I did her winners. She had a cracking week, but yeah, I'm just on the wrong side of so much variance. I utterly in disbelief when he fell, and it kind of just set the rest of the week up.
That was Rachel Flatton, wasn't it? She either won or she was on the deck, but she kept picking herself back up and doing it on the big stage.
Yeah, she had plenty of fallers, all right, yeah. But she kept it simple on so many other horses and made it complicated on him. It's a small field of 6. Just still disbelief.
Pop him round, he'd have done it. Week 2, we both had non-runners here. I had Debbie deciding the champion chase. Cocoa Beach will brush over that for you. Again, he would have won, definitely. Week 3, 2 more non-runners. Aramax for me, Holy Macapony for you.
Yep, Henry DeRun had a great week. I backed all the ones that didn't. Fantastic.
As long as you're not bitter about it.
No, I'm not bitter. Just I'm in shock still, to be honest. I'm in absolute shock.
Haven't let this one set in, really, have we? Week 4, another non-runner for me. Discorama, 25-1, did turn up. Fury Road for you, punted off the boards.
Yep, 21 into 4-1. Went wide initially. Did lose his position early on. Got back into a rhythm. Was sneaking back into it. Then a horse fell right in front of him, brought him to a standstill. Credit to the horse for even getting back into it. Coming down the hill, he was actually still in behind, not fully asked for his effort, but he had to use up so much energy, almost fucking dragging himself up the turf after he got nearly brought down by the faller. So when they were coming down, I think turning for home, his effort petered out and he ended up pulled up. But yeah, another one, 20-1 into 4s. Long run, profit on profit on profit. This week just doesn't happen.
Week 5 was the turning point for the pair of us. Triumph Hurdle, Quilixios. I put
best bet of the week.
Yeah, 10-1. I thought I was really happy with that. Went off 2-1. Rachel Blackmore gave him a fantastic ride. The one thing you would say is he's never really shown a really good turn of foot. Like he had this much pace underneath him. They thought he was a big stayer, but from the times we saw, they went quite slowly, and he picked up off that pace. You could definitely argue that both Zanahiyr and Tritonic didn't run to form. Maybe Tritonic did, and he wasn't as good as we first thought, but Zanahiyr definitely looks to have underperformed. But yeah, a really good ride from Rachel Blackmore on Quilixios, won quite well. For you, week 5 was the Ultima handicap, I right?
So I picked him based, a lot of the reason for backing him is because he goes from the front, and that's exactly what you want in the Ultima, as Vintage Cloud showed by making all. And in a 16-runner Ultima, I ended up 13th on the turn for the first. So his race was literally over by the time they got to the first fence. And if you watch the way he jumped all the way around, Dickie was so hesitant on him. Like, I think as well, the horse isn't exactly used to that. All of his starts so far, he's kind of been prominent, had a bit of a sighter. This time he had to get in amongst horses, buried on the rail, didn't like that at all, never got into a rhythm. He had to use up plenty of energy just to get prominent, to chase the leaders. And it's a testament to the horse that he was never in a rhythm, was almost petrified Dickie on board, like hold him into every single fence, and he still got to a challenging position. Maybe Cheltenham isn't his track. I heard Lydia Hislop make that argument before. I thought that was a weird argument to make before the race based on one start in the RSA when he only had one complete start of the fences, but perhaps that was also a factor. So going back to a flatter track and something like the Scottish National will suit in future. There's a big race in this horse. Everything went wrong for him, and he still finished third, 25-1 into 11-2. Place money, but Jesus, it's another frustrating one, because if he was in the spot Vintage Clouds was in, he would have won.
Week 6 was Epatante. Oh my goodness me. She was blown away by Honeysuckle. I was a big doubter of Honeysuckle's ability, especially over 2 miles on quick ground. I didn't think she had it in her, but absolutely destroyed her. I will make her. I don't think Epatante would have won, and do not get this impression from me at all. But I don't think she jumped as well as we know she can. And when Honeysuckle took it up, she was unfortunately boxed in behind a few horses. I'm hopeful she'll come back next year and run a better race, but I don't think she'll be beating Honeysuckle, unfortunately. So yeah, poor bet on my half.
No, I agree there. Obviously, a slickness of jumping has been a feature in her best performances. Wasn't the best. Did get trapped in behind. As you say, wouldn't have mattered with the winner in the end. She's a rapidly improving Mary's Honeysuckle. But I think that Epatante will rack up a more grade 1s in Britain, especially. Whether she keeps bumping into Honeysuckle. Obviously, they've got some decisions to make now. They thought they might go chasing before.
Yeah, they did.
It would seem silly to me now. I don't know if they'd want to risk her. They've got enough exciting prospects for fences. But yeah, that was a fascinating race. Honeysuckle emerged as a real superstar.
Week 6 for you was the Boodles, Riviere de Tau.
Yep. In the build-up, all preview nights, I don't think anyone in the world mentioned this mare, despite her being about 8-1 for it. And then on the day, everyone started talking about her again, which I found quite weird. She ran with credit. Look, she was out wide at the start. She was always in the vanguard, but we had no cover at all. I was hoping the ground would be a bit softer than it was, and I was hopeful on the start, but it turned out the ground description was false. On day one, it was much quicker than they said. She ran well. She was there, bang there until the last, and just faded late on. Probably wants 2.5 on soft ground long term, but I think she fed some of the best of those prominently. And again, 20-1 to 7-1, value was achieved. She just got run out of the places late on.
Week 7 for me was Paisley Park in the Status Hurdle. I backed it at 100-30, went off 15-8, 2-1, something along those lines. He hit a really, really big flat spot this year. Something he obviously was notorious for in his younger days, but something he hadn't really done too well this year. He did try really hard to battle there for Aidan Coleman, but unfortunately, he was just sort of chasing shadow of Florian Porter, who I was a big doubter of myself. Thought he stole a couple wins over in Ireland, but well, apparently not. Only 6 years old. There's a lot of talk on racing TV afterwards about will this horse be able to keep up the longevity because of the way he races. But at the age of 6, there could be plenty more improvement next year for him. Week 7 for you was a non-runner in Janadil for the Coral Cup, but you got money back for that one. Week 8, National Hunt Chase, Galvin, 4-1. When Royal Pagaille got pulled out, he went into 2-1, and I thought, this is it, rolling in. Well, he ended up drifting all the way back out to 7-2 with Next Destination being put in the race, but that didn't matter. A fantastic ride from Jack Kennedy, because this horse made a couple of fumbling mistakes early on in the race, and he nursed him round. Managed to take it up over the last, and I think this horse doesn't truly stay 3 miles 6, but Jack Kennedy really did well on him. But yeah, Galvin, a nice winner for me there. Week 8.
On Galvin, it's an interesting one. I mean, I backed him on the day. I thought he had a cracking profile for the race. And I think you saw the impact of professional jockeys being in that race as opposed to the amateurs in terms of the way it was run. You look back at the last few renewals, how many renewals are you watching where there's 3 within 3 lengths of the finish? I think last year it was the front 2 were 30 lengths clear, weren't they? Lord de Menil and Milan, not Milan native. Whoever then beat Lord de Menil, they were miles clear. So I think you saw the impact there, and it was I think evident in some of the other races as well that you just have a different tempo when the more accustomed jockeys are there. It wasn't such a grueling affair. But Class did rise to the fore. The best 3 were the front 3, and the horse to the best profile for the race won.
Week 8 for you, unfortunately, was another non-runner, but a non-runner no bet. That was Conflated, who did win 3 days before, wasn't it? Something along those lines.
Yep, bolted up in a grade 2. Yeah.
Week 9, I definitely got lucky on this one. Champion Chase put the kettle on 12-1, went off, I believe, 17-2. Really gutsy mare. I thought that there was no chance on the day. I thought the ground might be a little bit quick for her, but she stayed on really well. Chacun Pour Soi maybe not stayed up the hill, maybe underperformed, but yeah, put the kettle on, was in the right place to strike, and quite lucky that 12-1 winner. Week 9 for you, Gentleman de Me, another big price, punted off into favoritism for you.
Yeah, and well, to be honest, I'd always rip my slip up if I could when the hood went on first time. I don't think there's been a first-time hood winner of a handicap at Cheltenham for donkey's years. It never works. I still don't know why it went on, because he wasn't really that keen on his first start, and the hood lit him up like no tomorrow. He did everything wrong. Literally everything wrong in that race. He pulled his way to the front. He was swerving about on the way to hurdles. The fact he was still bang there on the turn for home is a testament to the fact that I think he's a good horse once they can sort him out. But again, just the right horse, the right price, and nothing went right. Just nothing went right for him. You don't really win Martin Parks from the front unless you're blow by blow, and they go an absolute crawl. But Simon Torrens had no chance, to be fair. The horse was so keen. So, yeah, another one of them where, what can you do?
Week 10, I took you on, took your I right bet on with one for the team at 12-1. Now, really weird. He smacked a fence along the back straight, and he lost many places. About 4 or 5 places he lost at that point. And then even coming up to, I think it was a 2 out, he was about 20 lengths back. He didn't look like he was going to get involved at all, but he found some stride and he took off. And I think he managed to pick up 5th just on the line, which got me some each way return. If he hadn't have hit that fence, then he might have finished a bit closer. But after hitting that fence, he did really look in trouble, stayed on well. Week 10 for you was on the slopes. This one tanked into the race. I was on it myself when you tipped him up. Quite unlucky, I thought.
No real hard luck stories. They were just better handicapped horses. He ran as expected, went from the front. One of the few ones where I can say, yep, everything kind of went as hoped. He hit 25-1 the night before, and I went back in on that. I thought that was a ridiculous price. He had a lovely profile for the race. Yep, jumped well from the front, ran a cracker, bang there. I think he led 2 out, didn't he? And was pretty much headed by a couple after the last. Plugged on, and I think, Grand Daniel's full of very, very well handicapped horses, and they were just better handicapped than him.
We actually put up 2 selections for the finale. I stuck up Spirit of the Games for the plate, and I still think that if he ran in the plate, he'd ran a better race than he did in the per temps. I just don't think he stays 3 miles very well. Non-runner, but had it non-runner, no bet, so money back on that. And then you had Botox Haas, who I believe was another well-supported horse for the Coral Cup, was your final selection.
Never went a yard. Literally beaten after the second hurdle. Like, you could tell just everything about him. Like, he was really well punted before the off as well. He was 12-1 in 17-2 about 5 minutes before the off. But yeah, knew my fate early there. Was in a Coral Cups. You don't really want to be too handy unless you do in this case, because Heaven Help us absolutely hacked up. But he was never happy, never going to win. Yeah, just another one where value schmalue. Just back winners, as some of the boys would say.
Oh no!
Yeah, put that just back fucking winners. Yeah, wankers. I wouldn't know a thing about stats if I hit him over the head with a fucking textbook.
Everyone said that you were the favourite. The market said that you had a fantastic chance at winning this. You know, I was 66-1. Overall, if you backed every single one of our selections, you'd have, let's say, I advised it either half a point each way or 1 point win. You'd have outlaid 22 points and you'd have returned 31 points. So you'd have come away with a 9-point profit, which was my ultimate goal, is that as a combined total, we'd make you some profit to give us a reason to come back next year and have another crack at it. After this year, I don't think Dan's going to accept it, unfortunately.
I think you should have a challenge. It's like King of the Hill, isn't it? Like, the loser goes off and the winner stays on.
You want multiple people to beat you next year, yeah? Is that the plan?
No, I won't be around next year. All of my days of doing any Cheltenham content are gone after this year. Jesus, who's going to want to hear me talk or write or do shit about anything?
Me.
I couldn't do. Got fuck all right all week, so I don't know why anyone would listen to me next year.
Not enough class 5 chases, eh? That's what Cheltenham needs.
Class 4s are more like.
I did win, and I gloated a little bit on Twitter, and I feel horrible for it inside. So yeah, as 11 points out each, mine returned 22 points. Dan returns 8. We did say the loser would donate £50 to the Injured Jockeys Fund, and you'll see that one above me right now. You'll see a little token that Dan's going to send me once he's donated. And out the kindness of my heart, as I've had a good week, I feel like I want to add to this as well. So the Injured Jockeys Fund will actually be getting £50 from me as well. And you'll see that one right there again. I as a whole have really enjoyed this series. It didn't have the fantastic ending we wanted, but we've come away with a bit of profit, and I hope that you do accept next year. I hope in what's it going to be, 10 months, 9 months time, you've gotten over this event, and you're ready to tackle it again.
Well, the way I see it, people listen to and watch Upping the Ante every year because they're good to listen to, and also they return a profit every year. If they were as useless as I was, people would not be going back for them. I think you should find someone else. I think just because you won this year, I think what's the point in me coming back? Obviously, I was really bad, so I don't know why anyone would come back and say, "Oh yeah, that Dan guy really did me well last year. I'll go back and watch his selections.
It's the
It's
good banter.
They've clearly backed the wrong ones.
It's the good banter we have.
Jesus, yeah, we're clutching at straws in here, aren't we? Yeah, look, we'll see. At the moment, I just don't want to think about Cheltenham at all. It's been a disastrous week in terms of this challenge and betting across the board. I mean, Envoy falling cost me well into four figures from a 15 quid stake, and I only bet 15 quid a point. So in the grand scheme of things, that was disastrous. Day 3 and day 4 have been absolute wipeouts. So I only agreed to record this now just because I want it out of the way, so I don't have to talk about it in the future. So yeah, we'll see. I think maybe someone else next year comes in and takes my place as you are the reigning champion.
Oh, that sounded so sweet. Oh, I'll catch you at Aintree anyway, Dan. I'm sure you'll be all over Aintree and Punchestown.
God no.
All right, that is going to be
Aintree next year.
That is going to be the Cheltenham head-to-head series. Come to a halt completely. I'm sure I'll have some videos up here throughout the flat season. I might have some little Aintree picks up here and there. So obviously do check them out. And hopefully we'll catch you next year.